Are you working on improving your standard American accent? Well, if you are, you've been watching my videos, other videos online, you've been recording yourself, you've been getting feedback from your friends. In this video, I want to share with you my approach to teaching the standard American accent. Let's get started. How do I start to learn a new accent? Well, look, every teacher has their own way of teaching. I remember back in school when I would have a science teacher and I would be learning about science in one class, I'd go to the next class and the teacher would present it in a very different way. And together I started to form a larger picture of what they were talking about. I'm sure you've had it where maybe a math teacher described something to you or an English teacher. Later on, somebody else described it in a different way. And by having those different ideas come together, those different perspectives, you started to have an even better understanding of what it was that you were trying to learn and what they were trying to communicate. So how does one start to learn the standard American accent? Well, obviously the first step is to start to learn the language and try to hear the differences, try to mimic other people, native speakers, have lots of conversations, maybe move to that area, take an intensive class where you're always practicing. I have so many clients come to me from different countries, even from different parts of this country, of the United States, because they want to standardize their accent. Now, when I say standardize, I don't mean take away your personality. It's you. You get to be who you want to be. But they come to me for different reasons. They come to me because they're an actor who wants to be able to play a wide variety of roles, and they don't want to always be pigeonholed as sounding as though they're from Mexico or from China or from Russia. They want to play those roles, but they also want to have a standard American accent. I have business people who come to me from all over the world. Maybe they don't want to get rid of their accent completely, but they certainly want to have an easier time being understood. Because let's face it, with the American language, with the American speak of the English language, it's challenging. Ours is not a phonetically spelled language. So when we look at a word, depending on how that letter is in a word, it's going to sound different. So the letter O, for instance, could have many different pronunciations. A letter O could have the O sound, as in go, home, no. Great, it's a long O. Or it could have an ah sound. Got, on, off. That's that same O. Or it could have a schwa sound, the middle of the mouth sound. It could be of, love, one. Well, that's hard. And that's why it's so hard for speakers coming from different countries who might have learned the speech very grammatically. You might have been in your native country, learning from professors who are from your own native country, or perhaps learned it from the Brits. And it's all very confusing. I have students come to me from different parts of the country, maybe with a Minnesota accent, and they want to get that reduced, or a Southern accent, they want to get that reduced. The first step, and why it's so hard, is that we hear sounds differently. Growing up, we hear the sounds around us, and we start to calibrate that as the standard. So our mouth placement, our tongue placement, the way we recreate sounds, we hear sounds in certain ways. So, for instance, the letter I, for instance, in the name Phil, P-H-I-L, Phil, Phil, Phil. If you're from France or from Spain or maybe from Russia, China, you might say feel, feel, especially French. We'll do French, feel. And I could say to you, no, Phil. And you would say back to me, feel. And I would say to you, no, Phil. We go on like that all day long because what sounds to you like feel sounds to me like feel, but it should be Phil, and oh my goodness, it gets kind of all tied up and complicated. So what I do, my system is very simple. Work with sounds. And let's look at those individual sounds, see how they're produced for the American speaker, and see how they're produced for you. What is that difference? Is it because yours is more forward in your mouth, or it's more in the back of your throat? Is it because the position of your lips are in a certain way? Is it because you never notice the difference in these sounds? And we go through the phonetic sounds one at a time. When students come to me, that's the very first thing we do is I record them. I speak to them, so I take some notes there, and then I give them some dialogue to read so that I can hear how they sound when they're speaking out loud and notice what sound changes are different. Then we go to intonation patterns. And then we go to putting it all together. And slowly but surely, they take these exercises and work with them on their own. Well, I am so happy to introduce a way that you can now study with me at your own pace, in the privacy of your own home, and get all the benefits that you get if you come to me directly, but you can do it online. I've developed masterclasses for learning the accent American for speakers from different countries and different places. Go to my website, look at these different videos and find out which one works for you depending on what country you're from, what area you're from. And you can start to go through these videos and start by learning the sounds, individual sounds. So you don't have to be bothered with, oh, the letter O, do I say company, company, what do I say? No, we work the other way. We say this sound here, this schwa sound, is the same in any word, whether it's company, love, the, what, and we go through the most commonly used words and we apply them and we practice them. Then you record yourself doing that and listen back and hear how that sounds for yourself. You start to make it in general conversation, practice text work, go on from there, and pretty soon you're going to start to have a standard American accent. I'm so excited about this video series because it takes time, and if you're in a different country, sometimes it's hard to arrange a Skype session, and I can only reach so many people. But by having this online masterclass, you can do it at your own pace and take the time to learn the sounds one by one. By learning the individual sounds, you can then learn the words. Putting the words together then makes up speech. And pretty soon, you're speaking with a standard American accent. I'm so excited about this. I'm looking forward to your looking up and seeing which video works for you, which video series works for you. And get started today by learning how to speak the standard American accent. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.